When an animal shows us love, its devotion is pure, unwavering, and everlasting. But what becomes of this bond after death? Is everything truly over, or is a grander fate awaiting us? The Scriptures provide insights into this mystery, and the revelations you're about to encounter could transform your understanding of the afterlife. We're on the cusp of unveiling a profound truth that has remained untold until now. Before we delve deeper, please support my efforts at no cost. Share in the comments your location as you listen. This small act helps us realize our connection, binding us into a vast family under heaven's gate. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and prepare yourself. The insights you gain today might permanently alter how you perceive every animal you've ever cherished. My name is Daniel. I am 55 years old and I reside in Holland, Michigan. 2 years ago, my world crumbled when my wife, Evelyn, passed away unexpectedly from a rapidly progressing cancer. There was no time to brace ourselves, to hope, or to harbor any illusions. Within months, the illness snatched her from me, plunging my existence into a profound silence. Life turned bleak and hollow. I would sit in front of the TV, watching shows that failed to capture my interest, venturing out only for grocery runs. Everything lost its meaning. Having previously lost my mother to cancer, I knew the pain well, but losing Evelyn cut deeper. I knew I would never recover. Evelyn was the love of my life, my soulmate, an incredible partner. She cherished our home, turned the mundane into magic, and was a wonderful cook. Then, one chilly afternoon, everything shifted slightly. Returning from the store, I noticed a cardboard box beside a dumpster. Ordinarily, I might have ignored it, but a soft whimper caught my attention. I drew closer and found a puppy inside, frail and shivering, its eyes dim with hunger and cold. Looking around and seeing no one, I realized it had been left to fend for itself, doomed to a lonely demise. I was never particularly keen on pets. I never envisioned them in my home. Yet, in that moment, I couldn't just walk away. Tentatively, I lifted the puppy and tucked it inside my jacket. I decided to take it home, nurse it to health, and then I intended to take it to a shelter. Or at least that was the plan. Initially, the puppy was anything but the companion I had envisioned. It was lively, noisy, and brought chaos, breaking things, scampering about, and resisting every training effort. My frustration mounted with each passing day. Already burdened by grief, I now felt overwhelmed by the added turmoil. The puppy seemed like just another encumbrance in my already challenging life. The quiet, empty house was now filled with incessant barking. My irritation intensified with each disregarded command and each new mishap, pushing me to the brink. Yet, in the midst of this disorder, I began to perceive something unexpected. The puppy was more than a mere nuisance. Its eyes held a determined glint. Its actions seemed purposeful, as if it were here for a reason beyond my understanding. As weeks went by and the puppy grew healthier, a shift occurred within me. Each day, I observed its transformation. Its body strengthened, its eyes sparkled more, and it seemed to stir something within me that I thought had died. The grip of my pain started to loosen, as if this small, exuberant being was prying open a crack in my heart. That's when I decided it needed a meaningful name. It couldn't be just any name. I sensed its presence in my life was profound. I named it Jonah, after the biblical figure who endured the storm to usher in new beginnings, because, perhaps unbeknownst to me, I was also navigating through my own storm, and Jonah was becoming my ark. Just when my life began to regain meaning, just as I started to find peace in the simple joys, our world turned upside down in a blink. It was an idyllic day, sun blazing, a soft breeze in the air, perfect for a walk. Jonah and I meandered along the sidewalk, savoring the tranquility of the afternoon. There was no hint of the impending calamity. As we approached a crosswalk, I halted at the pedestrian lines. A car decelerated and halted to let us pass. I looked left and right, then stepped into the street, Jonah leading slightly. Suddenly, the quiet was ripped apart by the roar of engines. 2 cars, ignoring the stopped vehicle, raced past it at reckless speed, oblivious to the lives they endangered. Time seemed to stretch. I froze, heart pounding. The headlights closed in rapidly. I yelled for Jonah, tugging desperately at the leash. It was too late. A thunderous collision ensued. Jonah was hit directly and the leash yanked out of my hand, pulling me forward. I was airborne for a split second that felt like forever before I slammed onto the pavement. My head struck the curb violently and then everything went dark, a profound, engulfing darkness. I was enveloped in darkness, devoid of pain or fear, just a profound sense of emptiness and suspension. Then, gradually, a warm light began to pierce the shadows, not from any external source but radiating from within, like a gentle, glowing ember. Before me stood a majestic and radiant figure bathed in an aura of pure peace and love. It was Jesus. His eyes, brimming with compassion, met mine, and his presence exuded a warmth unlike anything I had ever felt. "Louis," his voice came softly, imbuing a comforting embrace to my soul. "Do not fear. You are here for a purpose far greater than you can comprehend." In that moment, all my fears dissolved. A profound peace enveloped me, lifting the burdens of my life, my pain, my loneliness, as if they were never there. Jesus gazed at me with profound empathy, understanding the depths of my being. "Something essential is connected to both you and Jonah," he said, his gaze penetrating deep, touching parts of my soul previously undiscovered. "Something I must know," I pondered, a revelation awaiting. Jesus nodded affirmatively. "Jonah was brought into your life for this very reason. The day you discovered him beside that dumpster was no mere chance." A chill coursed through me. I revisited that day in my mind, seeing Jonah coward, emaciated, a faint shadow of life. His hardships mirrored my own, from separation from his mother, through abuse, to the brink of death, abandoned and without hope. And there, in his deepest despair, he found me, a soul as shattered as his own. Jesus gestured to me softly. "You and Jonah, both carrying your own scars, found sanctuary in one another. His pain mirrored yours, his turmoil too. You chose each other, and in doing so, you healed one another." Emotion swelled within me, unspeakable yet profoundly true. Jonah and I had not just shared a home, we had shared our lives. Did it ever cross your mind, Daniel, that Jonah might have truly grasped your feelings? His words touched a hidden part of my soul. How many evenings had I poured out my sorrows to him? On those darkest nights, missing Evelyn deeply, how often had I looked up to find his eyes on me? How many times had he silently placed his muzzle in my hands as his way of saying, "I'm here with you"? "What if he did understand?" Jesus said, his smile warm and knowing. "The connection you've established with Jonah is deeper than you realize. It transcends simple affection. It is a profound bond shared by 2 spirits who truly recognize and understand each other," Jesus explained. Tears rolled down my cheeks as the weight of his words sank in. Lord, I never perceived animals in such a way. I assumed they were merely beings that one becomes fond of, nothing more. Jesus softly shook his head. "Daniel, animals are far more significant. They are blessings from God, instruments of love and healing. When someone loses their way, when their suffering seems insurmountable, God often sends these creatures to them." I shut my eyes, letting the truth of his words permeate my being. Jonah was meant for me. He was chosen for me. It wasn't just by chance. He wasn't merely a forsaken dog I took in. He was my rescuer. But Lord, how is it that animals seem to grasp human suffering more deeply than humans themselves? Jesus met my gaze with a look of deep significance. "Louis, pay attention. While animals do not possess a soul in the human sense, they are not judged for sins, nor do they navigate moral choices, they do carry within them a spirit, a divine spark from God. And remember, nothing that originates from God ever truly perishes. Are you saying that I will see him again? That Jonah will find a place in your kingdom? Jesus affirmed with a nod. Is it not declared, "For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God"? For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Romans 8:19-21. I reflected for a moment. So, does this mean that animals, too, will be redeemed? When all is completed and sin has vanished, creation will be renewed. Nothing born of love will be forsaken. In your kingdom, every creature will find its rightful place, free from suffering. Jesus then granted me a vision of another realm. The scene was breathtaking. The air was impeccably clear. Rivers flowed pristine and pure. Across vast meadows, creatures of every kind roamed freely, unafraid. Wolves and lambs reclined together, lions lay peacefully next to children, and horses charged across shimmering fields. And there, amidst them all, was Jonah. He appeared strong and vibrant, his spirit unburdened by any pain, his eyes alight with happiness. He seemed to be looking for me, waiting. Jonah will be there, Daniel, along with all who have loved and served with pure hearts, Jesus affirmed. Tears welled up in my eyes. Lord, does this mean that every animal we've ever loved will be restored to us? Jesus gave a gentle nod. Not all animals form deep connections with humans. Many simply exist as part of the earth. However, those that have been intertwined with your life, those you have loved and that have loved you, will be beside you again, for love is enduring and never lost. Overwhelmed by the profound truth, I fell to my knees. So, our connection will remain unbroken? Forever. The love that flows from God is everlasting. As he spoke, the light around us began to dim, and I felt a force pulling me back towards my earthly existence, the contours of the real world coming into focus once again. Before fading completely, Jesus imparted one final instruction. When you return, tell others. Share what you have witnessed. The world has overlooked the significance of God's creatures. Remind humanity that every life holds value and every loving bond is a sacred treasure. The last image I beheld was Jonah, injured but resilient. Then I awoke. The vision before me was devastating. I saw Jonah lying on the asphalt, his body still, his breathing faint and labored. His fur was matted with blood, yet in his eyes there lingered a defiant spark, a testament to his enduring spirit. My heart ached deeply. Lord, Jonah has endured so much hardship. He was forsaken, felt the sting of solitude, and now faces this. Why must he suffer so? Jesus regarded me with boundless compassion. Daniel, the plight of animals mirrors the affliction of our world corrupted by sin. With sin's entrance, the entirety of creation was marred. The anguish, the demise, the brutality, this was never the intention of my Father. Then he revealed a vision to me. I beheld Eden in its untouched splendor. Animals coexisted peacefully with each other and with humans. There was no fear, no fight for survival, no death. This was the initial design, Jesus explained. Animals were never meant to endure suffering or cruelty. They were integral to God's flawless creation, and in His realm, they will once again embody that original perfection. I looked down at Jonah, his body shaking yet his heart still beating strongly. Will he recover? Jesus laid a hand on my shoulder. He has sustained a grave injury, but his journey isn't finished. It will require months of care and patience, but Jonah will stand strong once more, and your connection will be even deeper. A lump formed in my throat. Lord, when his time does come, when he passes, will I see him again? Do animals have a soul? Jesus met my eyes with profound intensity. Louis, listen closely. Animals don't possess a soul as humans do. They're not held accountable for their actions, as they don't engage in moral decisions or sin. However, they are imbued with a spirit, a spark of divine life from God, and what comes from God is never truly lost. So, you're saying, I will see him again? That Jonah will find a place in your kingdom? Jesus nodded affirmatively. Indeed, it is written, for the creation waits with eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay and share in the glorious freedom of the children of God. Romans 8:19-21. Reflecting on his words, I pondered aloud. So, does that mean that animals, too, will be redeemed? When everything is fulfilled and sin is eradicated, creation will be renewed. Nothing created with love will ever be lost. In your kingdom, every creature will find its rightful place and animals will be free from suffering. Jesus revealed another vision to me, a breathtaking new realm where the air was crystal clear and rivers ran pure. Across vast meadows, animals of every kind roamed freely without fear. I observed wolves and lambs resting together, lions lying peacefully beside children, and horses racing across lush, golden fields. Amidst them, I spotted Jonah. He was there, vibrant and strong, his energy glowing, his eyes sparkling with joy and free from any pain. He seemed to be looking for me, waiting. Jonah will be there, Daniel, alongside all those who have loved and served with pure hearts, Jesus assured. Tears streamed down my face as the enormity of his words washed over me. Lord, does this mean that every animal we've cherished will return to us? Jesus gave a soft nod. Not every animal establishes a deep connection with humans. Many simply belong to the earth. However, those that have been a part of your life, those that you have loved and who have loved you, will be by your side in eternity, for love is eternal and never squandered. I fell to the ground, overwhelmed by the sudden truth. So, our connection is eternal. Absolutely. God's love is forever. As the light dimmed around me, I felt a force pulling me back to my body, the real world coming into focus. Before I departed, Jesus imparted one final message. When you return, spread the word of what you've witnessed. The world has lost sight of the importance of God's creatures. Remind humanity that every life holds value and every loving bond is a holy treasure. The last image I held was of Jonah, wounded yet enduring. Then consciousness returned to me. The days that followed the accident were a blur of agony, fear, and hope. I spent weeks in the hospital as my body labored to mend, but my thoughts were elsewhere, in a stark, chilled room haunted by a persistent question. Would Jonah survive? The veterinarians were doubtful. The impact had been severe. Jonah's condition was dire, yet he showed no signs of response, lying still, hovering on the brink of life and death. Each night I prayed fervently, God, you brought him to me as a savior. Please don't take him away now. Time dragged on, turning days into weeks. Then one morning, as I sat by his side, wearied by lack of sleep and my voice hoarse from crying, I sensed a change, a faint movement, a fuller breath. Gradually, Jonah's eyes fluttered open. His gaze, weak but aware, sought mine. In that instant, as our eyes locked, a profound wave of emotion rushed through me. He was still with us. The doctor warned that his path to recovery would be arduous and lengthy, yet to me, it already felt like a wondrous feat. You did it, Jonah! We made it, I exclaimed. In that moment, I realized his struggle was mine. Our pain was intertwined and our recovery would be shared. As months went by, Jonah slowly came back to life. He was forever changed. The scars of that horrific night marked him physically, but his spirit soared, undiminished, even more resilient and luminous than before. Yet, time spares no one. A few months back, I was confronted with the toughest ordeal yet, one I knew awaited us but had wished to delay even slightly. Jonah had aged, his movements had become slower, his eyes wearier. Nonetheless, he never strayed from my side. He accompanied me everywhere, always there, always watchful, just as he had been throughout his life. Then, one morning, as I led him out into the yard for his therapy, it occurred. Jonah halted. He looked at me, and with an incredible effort, wagged his tail and managed a few steps on his own. I dropped to my knees before him, tears cascading down my cheeks. "Hey, my friend, I'm here." His gaze met mine, and in his eyes I saw it all: love, gratitude, the sadness of farewell, yet a tranquility too. He knew his time had arrived. "I love you, Jonah. Thank you for everything." With one last attempt, he feebly moved his tail as if to say he loved me too and that he was ready. Then he closed his eyes, his body relaxing in my arms, and I knew he had passed. I'm not sure how long I stayed there, kneeling, my face buried in his fur, while tears flowed without end. The grief hit me like a massive wave, leaving me gasping, drained of strength. Could it really be the end? God had sent him to me at a time when I had lost everything. He had been my beacon of hope, my companion, my guiding light. He saved me when I had lost the will to live, and now he was gone. I embraced him tightly one last time. Thank you, Jonah. Thank you for loving me more than I deserved. The sorrow was overwhelming, yet I clung to Jesus' words. In my kingdom, nothing that you have loved will be lost. I closed my eyes, letting those words envelop me, and in that moment, amid the sorrow, I found a profound, lasting peace. Jonah hadn't really left. He never would. Now, each morning when I awake, his spot beside my bed is empty, yet his spirit permeates everything, etched in the memories I cherish, felt in moments when I sense his presence still beside me, and in the assurance that one day, when God calls me home, I'll see him again. Together, we'll run freely, unburdened by fear or pain, forever. Having witnessed such truth, I can no longer keep silent. This message isn't just for me, but for anyone who has felt loss, who has loved and grieved, for everyone who has looked into an animal's eyes and seen comfort, hope, and unconditional love. Jesus taught me that animals are not merely companions for the journey, not incidental, nor merely accessories in our lives. They are a divine blessing, channels through which God speaks, supports, and guides us in our darkest hours. Jonah was not just a dog, he was a message from God to me. And the truth is, God sends these messages to many. Yet, how many of us recognize them? How many understand that those loyal eyes gazing at us daily are not just earthly beings, but living, breathing embodiments of divine love? How often do we underestimate the importance of a simple act of affection, of a quiet, steadfast presence, without realizing that right there beside us is the sign we've been searching for? When I first encountered Jonah, I thought I was his savior. Instead, he saved me. God knew I needed him as much as he needed me. He was wounded, neglected, rejected by the world, much as I felt after losing Anna. Our sorrows intertwined, and unknowingly, we became each other's solace. It was not mere coincidence, it was not random, it was orchestrated by God. Animals are not mere objects, nor possessions to be discarded at whim. They are cherished beings entrusted to our care, to be loved, honored, and protected. Scripture is clear. God values them, and he cares for every creature no matter how small, because every life is significant. If the Lord Himself watches over them, how can we justify mistreating, ignoring, or abandoning them? Each time an animal suffers from human cruelty, it's as if we are desecrating a part of creation itself. But every time we embrace them, nurture them, and extend our love, we are responding to a divine mandate. If you have an animal in your life that shows you love, that waits eagerly for your return, that shadows your every move, don't just see it as a companion. It is a sign. It is God's way of telling you that you are never alone. And if you don't yet have an animal by your side, if you sense a void within, don't lose heart. Perhaps your sign is still on its way. Perhaps there's a creature out there that needs you as much as you need it. My experiences have shown me that when a person endures profound pain, yet holds firm to their faith, a sign of aid, a beacon of hope, is sent from above. A pure soul appointed by God to provide support through the darkness and to guide along the path of faith. I didn't realize Jonah was my guiding light until I reflected and clearly saw the path that God had prepared for us. Perhaps you've had a Jonah in your life too. Maybe there's one with you now, or maybe one is yet to arrive. But don't overlook the signs. Don't undervalue the power of quiet love, of steadfast companionship, of a presence that soothes without words. Jesus revealed to me that in His kingdom, nothing that has been loved will ever be lost. The moments we share with them are never futile. The bond we forge does not end with death. My Jonah has left me, but I am certain that I will see him again. I know that when God calls me, He will be there waiting, and this time, we will run together without fear, without pain, without the constraints of time. If there is one lesson I hope to impart in this life, it is this: animals are a divine gift. They are given to us to aid us, to love us, and to teach us about the deepest forms of loyalty and compassion. Let's not neglect this gift. Let's not squander the chance to be for them what they are for us, a manifestation of God's love on earth. If you've made it this far, it's clear you have a compassionate heart. Let me know in the comments by typing Amen or telling us the country you're tuning in from. If you cherish animals and embrace the teachings of the Lord, please share this video with your friends and family. We all need a deeper understanding of why animals are placed among us, and this video offers a sincere and truthful explanation in line with biblical teachings. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. May God bless you all. I look forward to seeing you again on my channel